So I just came back from out of the country. I was working for a year overseas. Well, when I got back, I found this secret that my fiance's been up to, and you guys will not believe exactly what he did while I was gone. I've recently come back from a year of working overseas, and I feel like I should have stayed there. I do feel nostalgic for a lot of things back home, but why did I really think that people would have changed once I came back? Maybe I'm one of those that have changed and now I'm seeing them for the snakes that they are. Starting with my so-called ex-fiancée who ghosted me last year for no reason at all. I came back to find out that she's been married to my cousin, who I grew up with and considered to be my sister. And now I'm somehow supposed to be happy for them and stuff. I'm not that nice of a person, unfortunately, but a bit of a backstory so you may understand just how much of a betrayal this is to find the one I believe to have got away was with my cousin. We were planning to get married when I came back and start a business together as he was already doing well. But suddenly he just stopped talking to me. My cousin was the only person close enough for me to send a message through, but she told me that he did not want to talk to me. Instead, he wanted to focus on his business, and he said that his family would never accept me anyways. I had yet to meet his parents, who were very well off and always busy with business trips, but they had known about our engagement and approved of it from what I thought I knew. But Tiffany, 24, said that they did not really like me, especially the fact that I decided to leave him and go overseas. I tried harder to get a hold of him, but every channel was blocked. Soon enough, shock turned to anger, then anger turned to hatred. He was one of the reasons I vowed never to return to my hometown. So then you must be wondering why I went back. Was it because of my family? Unfortunately, I do not even know the meaning of family because I've had sad excuses for one in my Aunt Lori, who was always reminding me that I'm not her child since I was 10. If she could have, she would have found my mother's family and sent me to live with them instead of being forced to take care of me, with no monetary compensation whatsoever. Oh, but don't worry because I earned my stay in multiple ways. From being the house help to paying her back in cash once I started working. There was no way for me or money to go to college, so she sent her daughter while I struggled part-time jobs and full-time jobs. When I got the chance to train in a TEFL course that allowed me to teach English in another country, I took the opportunity with both hands. While I was there, I also started my own skincare business, which in the end was more lucrative than my monthly salary. My boyfriend at the time, a guy I met in high school whom I was with 4 years and engaged for an extra 2 years, was very supportive of all my dreams. My aunt did not think that he was good enough for me because she thought that he did not have money. Well, this is what I thought for many years also, not knowing that he just wanted to make his own way without his family's help. By the time I was leaving, his business was quickly picking up and he was making a crapload of money. The plan was for me to finish my year in another country, come back and use the money as additional capital for my business when we would get married. Unfortunately, the man ghosted me for no reason 3 months into my career. I could have gone back to chase after him and find out what really happened, but I did not. Instead, that breakup was such a wonderful lesson for me to never depend on anyone. The people whom I used to depend on passed away and my caretaker was cruel to me. So maybe I did not deserve to have nice things. Anyways, I got investors for my products, enough that I could expand into maybe a store if things went well. But there was a clause. I had to set up everything in my hometown, at least in the meantime, then I could move later. It was something to do with the market and trends, and also how much easier it was for me to import certain things into the town than in most other places. I thought life was laughing at me when I found out that for me to be successful, I had to face my past and the man who betrayed me. I had it in all of my head, a speech telling him that I deserve better than to have to be rug pulled from beneath my feet as he did to me. But all those words left my mind when I came back and I saw them. I was in line at the grocery store, minding my own darn business, when I heard him laughing. And boy, do I know that laugh. I would have in any place, ever, if I ever heard that sound, I would know. I saw that he was with a woman, but I did not look too closely at them because I was overcome by anger and fear. By all feelings, I made sure to avoid their direction when I was leaving. At the time, I did not know that it was my own cousin that he's married to. But how? Did I not have social media or friends to tell me? I did not have any mutual friends with her, and I've kept off social media for the past year, unless it's just to do business. I do not talk to her or my aunt because we're as good as strangers. So, yes, that specific event somehow skipped me. And also our town's not that small. In fact, it's fastly growing, nearly like a city, so it's not a matter of everyone knowing everyone, something I used to be grateful for but not anymore. So I found out about them through a simple thing as a community, buying and selling group, when I was looking for some secondhand furniture. I found this table that looked perfect. Read the description, and decided that it was in the perfect price range, so I clicked to message the seller. The seller was my cousin. But her surname was my ex's. I remember starting to feel rather hot for no reason at all on a cold day. As my mind said, no way, please don't let it be. Sure enough. It was true when I clicked through the rest of her profile, which was public. They started dating around the time that we broke up, got engaged and married a few months later, and appeared to be very happy. Damn, was I pissed. I wanted to squish that little girl like an ant, because it was clear that while I was away, she took a chance on my man. But why would Brian do that when he knew the kinds of people she and her mom were? I just sent her a message writing, quote, "Congratulations on your wedding. My invitation must have got lost in the mail." Because, well, I could be petty like that. For him, it did not take time for me to find out where his office was. To my annoyance, he was fast becoming a household name, and also to see that they were open. Without thinking once or twice, I went to get my answers because he owed me some. Our relationship was perfect, and suddenly he cheated on me and ghosted me? The situation was fishier than an aquarium. So, anyways, I showed up at his office, lied to his secretary about who I was, then I was in. When he saw me, he almost fell off his chair in shock, but I did not give him time to recover. Instead, I threw his engagement ring at his face. Headshot. I asked him who the hell he thought he was, ghosting me, and then marrying my cousin. It's just gross now that I think about it. Then he asked what was he supposed to do since I was married and expecting someone else's baby. I asked whose, and he told me to stop acting stupid. My aunt told him of the secret lover that I left the country to marry. I told him to be smarter than that. Why would you believe a liar like my aunt? I have no child nor husband. He's so stupid. The man looked utterly dumbstruck, switching from anger to regret very quickly, but I was not going to have any of it. In life, we have choices. To believe in lies or to investigate them. He chose the former, and look where it's gotten him. The breakup may have been sabotage, but his getting with my cousin was his own choice, and I did not forgive him. After I said my piece, I left the office without saying anything to him, because what was there to say when he betrayed me like that? All the anger, confusion, and resentment were left in his office, and now I was simply done. My aunt and her daughter tried to intimidate me through the threats, but I chose to take the high road and not answer them. I already know that they're not good people, and I've accepted that, so there's nothing more to say. I turned the other way on the rare occasions that I came into contact with them, and I blocked them on every platform. After this, I focused on my business, which was blooming and becoming even more successful. I healed, achieved my goals, and I was truly happy. But you see, The devil may work hard, but exes work harder, because I was not being bothered at every turn by my ex, and it was so annoying. He wrote me a paragraph confessing his love to me, telling me the problems that he was having in his marriage, and he wishes that he did not listen to her. All of that did nothing but make me realize that I did not need someone like him in my life, a person who did not trust me. I also did not like the fact he had a wife but was trying to get back with me. Imagine me being the mistress of my cousin's husband. Nah, I would never stoop so low. Even though I rejected him and avoided him, he was everywhere and would not leave me be until he had a chance to talk to me. I finally agreed to just talk with him, nothing more. We were both done, but I needed to tell him to leave me alone and solve anything that was not solved between us. Then hopefully he would leave me alone. Because of him, I was planning to leave someone else to manage this branch and set up elsewhere away from this drama. Things were getting twisted into making me seem like the bitter ex who came back and tried to ruin her cousin's marriage. It did not affect my business yet, but I needed to get away from this drama. So, I agreed to meet up with him one afternoon in a cafe on a less busy side of town. My cousin and aunt had a lot of eyes in town. We talked about their past for a very long time, but it was not too dreadful. Everything was going well, until he told me that he had a request to make of me, and that if I did this for him, he would never bother me again. I asked what it was. Would you believe the nerve of this man? Even now I laugh when I think of how he thought it was okay for him to even ask me such a ridiculous question. He asked me if I would be the mother of his child, because my cousin could not have kids. What the hell? Why would I have a child with someone that I hate? I asked him if he really lacked so much respect for me that he would ask me to bear his child while he was married to someone that I hated. Like, I was supposed to get the consolidation prize while she got everything else. The old me would have probably agreed. It's not easy for me to admit that I used to be so weak, but it was the truth, because I worshipped the ground he walked on, but not anymore. I told him never to ask me something so stupid and disrespectful again. He said that I could not even have to be in the child's life if I did not want to. We could just pretend that it was Tiffany's child. This man really dared to ask me to have a child with him, then abandon it so it can be raised by Tiffany? I told him there's no way I was going to do that. Then he said it was the only way he could still have part of me with him since I did not want to take him back. He also said that he needed an heir and was not getting that much respect because his wife was barren. I did not stoop so low as to tell him why she's barren, but I know everything. It was something that happened to her when she was young. She was a victim. But the reason why he was telling me and the real reason was completely different, but I kept quiet. Before I left, I told him to leave me alone if he wanted peace in his life, so he listened. Left me alone, and I moved on with my life. Of course not. He sent me a message later that night telling me that he cannot stop thinking about me. He said that maybe he could convince Tiffany to let me be his second wife. Yeah, his second wife. Then he proceeded to ping my phone while I was asleep because I was ignoring him. After that, I grew so annoyed and angry that I sent him all the texts from the past couple of days to her, and told her that he wanted to have a baby with me. I told her to keep her man on a leash. She did not see the message because she was probably asleep. When I woke up, though, it was tons of messages abusing me, and from her and Mom. They threatened to come to my place and beat me up, as if they could ever get past my security. They said that I was a homewrecker and trying to ruin her happiness. I told them that even though they used trickery, he's still obsessed with me, but it was okay because I did not want anyone else's sloppy seconds. That was when I blocked them once again. I started to make arrangements to leave town in the middle of the drama because I did not have time. I wish I could have watched it crash and burn, but I did hear all about it. She kicked him out of her house when she found out what he was asking from me. and several people have been seeing him sleep in his office. Well, I do not know how to feel about it. I honestly don't really care if they're happy or miserable together. She's nothing to me. I trusted her in a moment of weakness, but instead, she decided to take what was mine. As for my aunt, she was clearly jealous that I was getting married before her daughter to a successful man. It amazes me that they were so bitter about it, yet they laughed at him when he did not have much. He seems to have forgotten that they told us we would be nothing, all because of a little lie that he believed. So, if they end up divorced or stay happily unmarried, I don't care at all. I'm only left with less than a day here, then I'm finally moving away. No more drama, no more exes, no more fake family. Just a brand new start for me to get true happiness. I do wish them peace one day. I'm not a bitter person, but I can say that karma... She strikes again. I cannot believe the nerve of OP's ex to even consider or mention the fact that, hey, we should still have a child together because, well, I can't have a child with the one I cheated on you with. Guys, could you even imagine this situation? I know, it's a difficult one to think of, but drop your comments down below exactly how you would navigate this if you were in OP's position. The final story on the day that we're going to look at is titled, I'm 29 female and I was served with divorce papers by my husband during quarantine. Now, I don't know what to do. Hey everyone. So basically, like the title says, my husband has been cheating on me for our whole relationship of 10 plus years, and served me with divorce papers during quarantine. He wants me out of the apartment by next Friday, but I'm too embarrassed to tell my family. In my culture, no one gets a divorce, and I don't know where to start. I know I need to get a lawyer, but I'm completely confused and blindsided right now, and would like advice before contacting a lawyer, so I don't look as clueless as I am. He's being completely irrational and doesn't want me to have anything. Not the furniture in the house, not the food in the fridge, or our dog. I'm hoping someone can help me out with the most important things below. First, we don't have a prenup. I met him when I was 19 and he opened up about his first restaurant in the city. I really thought we'd grow old together. I know, stupid of me not to cover my butt, but I was with him for so long, I just got really comfortable and could not imagine him doing this to me. We bought a condo in New York and most of it was paid for by me and my family, but it was in his name. I'm scared of losing the house since my parents and I put so much into it, but I also can't afford to keep the house on my own for more than a few months. Unless I ask my parents for help, which I'm also embarrassed to ask for. Can his infidelity help me out there? Second, he bought me a car for my birthday just last year and is telling me I have to leave the car with him. So I have no way of moving any of my stuff out and would put myself at a great risk of getting COVID-19. Is he allowed to do this? Third, yes, I am a co-signer on the 2 of the small loans that he has on his restaurants. I'm also invested in them and they're a great second source of income, even in these times. How will the judge, or whoever ultimately makes the decision, determine whether or not I can maybe keep one of the restaurants, or still collect revenue from them? Again, no prenup and my husband was unfaithful. I'd love to hear your advice. Any bit helps right now. What's up guys, Mr. Reddito here. I hope you're enjoying these stories. If you're not subscribed to the channel, take a second and click that button. I now have an update for you that came out 1 month later after the original post. Let's hop directly in that now. Hey everyone, I'm back. I wanted to come back with a little update because I'm wine tipsy right now and egg not. These past couple of weeks have been a roller coaster of emotions. Some bad, but mostly good. Now that things here in New York are starting to look a bit more promising, my attitude towards this situation and my mental state are in a much different place than they were a few weeks ago. I mentioned this before, but I want to say it again. Thank you for all the messages, for you sharing your stories, and for the amazing advice given by strangers. It means so much to me, especially at a very hard time. As I mentioned in my last post, my ex-husband had been cheating on me for our whole 10-year relationship, 3 whole years of marriage, with multiple women, and served me with divorce papers during the peak of COVID here in New York City. He wanted me out and wanted everything, even things that were not his. We've not talked since April 27th and are solely communicating through lawyers. He has moved into his back office of one of the restaurants that he owns. Yeah, you heard that right, and spends his time between his restaurants and the new chick's house. His parents begged and pleaded with me to get back with him in a phone call on May 3rd, but that'll never happen. So, here's the update. Legally, the apartment is most likely going to be given to me. His lawyer agreed that this very well might be the case, though I know they're going to fight me until they can't anymore, given that there are bank statements and documents showing that the majority was paid for by my family. If this isn't the case, it'll be 50-50 either way. But I do plan on moving to a smaller place in a different neighborhood and don't really care for the apartment the same way I did. What I once saw as a place where we would raise a family has now become somewhat empty museum to me. As long as his new missus isn't living the life I once did, I don't care which way we go with it. I last spoke about him wanting to take the car from me. Well, the car is mine until the judge determines what to do with it. My name's on the title, and though he is making the payments, it is mine. I can't really imagine why I need a $100,000 car to sit on the street and accumulate tickets daily. So, while it's mine for now, I honestly can't afford the maintenance on it, and I live in New York City, so free car! Thankfully, he's not going to fight me for custody of our beloved puppy, the most important factor in all this. She's mine. The restaurant. So, I poked about my partial ownership in one of the restaurants, and I've decided to sell it back to him. I think it's best to cut ties from him and get a check every 2 weeks in the mail with his signature on it. It'll make me resent him even more. So I'm going to sell my percentage back to him or whatever wants to invest. I'll put the money towards a car I can afford on my own or a new place, I don't know yet. A lot of people were telling me to get checked for STDs, and I took your advice and headed over to Planned Parenthood. All is well in that department. Now, on to my family, which I was terrified to say anything to. They've been so supportive, my rocks through all this madness. I never imagined my parents being there for me like they have been, but they really have been a major part of my healing process, and have assured me that I have nothing to be ashamed of no matter what our culture is. Now, that it's safer to, I've been back and forth from my place to theirs once a week. Naturally, some drama has occurred, though, turns out, my big fat Greek family knows his new girlfriend's big fat Greek family. We go to the same church. To say that things got messy is an understatement, but my mom ended up telling everyone in our community that this family's daughter ruined a home. I feel awful about this, but my family comes from a culture where the women in this situation is wrong, and the man's just doing what men do. Awful. Trust me, I know. But it's their old school way, and this girl is notorious in our community for her bad reputation. I'm talking drugs, parties, etc. This made it so much worse, and I feel like I'm to blame, but also not to blame. If there's one thing I've realized, it's that I cannot control the actions of others, but I can control my own reaction. I apologized to her on my behalf, and the behalf of my family, in a letter I'm sure she got. In return, I got a message on Facebook from her mother that says I deserved everything I got and she hopes I lose everything. Huh, they're such a super sweet family. So, that's pretty much it. A little update on what's happened in a month. We're waiting to take things to court, and soon I'll be a free woman. So, I don't know what was going on with this guy in the story. I don't know. I think he was short a few brain cells, but let's read this comment. So, he thought he could just tell her to leave the place that she and her parents paid for, leave her car, get nothing. Glad to see she got a lawyer and is looking forward, not backwards. Comment 2 says, LOL, He thought he could just shun her out, give her the card to the new girl, and move her right in. If she left any clothes, the new girl would be wearing them pronto. Guys, let me know exactly what you would have done in this weird situation. Drop your thoughts down below and let's talk about it, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on this video. I hope to see you tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe.